Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today the media was laughably wrong about the Los Angeles Lakers' title chances this season. As you guys know, the Minnesota Timberwolves gentlemen swept the Lakers out of the playoffs on Wednesday night, and this is a shock to basically everyone outside of the state of Minnesota. I would say about anywhere from 80 to 90% of the national NBA media that was asked to make a prediction about this series or decided to make a prediction about this series picked the Lakers over the Timberwolves, whether that be in 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games. But you do have it wasn't 100% unanimous. I know Ryan Russillo picked the Timberwolves. I'm sure there's a few other people that did too. But even to the Minnesota people that were confident in their team, thought their team had a chance in the series, thought that their team should be the favorite in this series even. I don't even think in their wildest dreams they were expecting the Wolves to close out the Lakers on the Lakers' home court in Crypto.com Arena. We're going to go ahead in a little bit. I'm going to talk to you guys about how fraudulent the Lakers were this season because they clearly duped everyone in the national media. And we're also going to kind of break down the series and why Minnesota was so dominant. And then I'm going to talk about how Minnesota actually fares for the rest of this season and these playoffs, because I actually think they have a decent chance, a non-zero chance to make it out of the Western Conference. But first, this Wolves website, Twitter page made this compilation video of, they kept receipts, y'all. They have this compilation video of a bunch of different media members out there predicting the Lakers over the Timberwolves. So we'll go ahead, we'll watch this clip here, and then I got another thing to show you, and then we'll break down all the stuff I just said.
I could easily see the Lakers winning this in 6, okay? That's what I'm predicting.
Which way do you lean, Lakers or T-Wolves?
I got to lean with the Lakers, man. Adding those pieces, it takes them over the top.
I said it to you guys on Tuesday. I'll say it again. The Lakers, my favorite bet of this round of the playoffs.
LeBron doesn't lose a lot of first-round series. Luka doesn't lose a lot of first-round series. I'm going to go Lakers in 7.
I'll go Lakers in 6.
Jaden McDaniel, Cocker Spaniel. Force the ball to Julius. Lakers in 6.
I'm going with the Lakers.
I like the Lakers.
Okay.
Lakers in 6.
I'm going to go Lakers in 5. Because he just be a quick work, man.
Fate is fate, okay? We got Luka here, all right? The script has been written.
Barkley, Channing Frye, Brendan Haywood, Brian Martin, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley.
It's going to be a lot of... You in the T-Wolves, man. I'm riding with the Wolves, man. My unbiased opinion, too.
You're a professional.
These are all the
I'm not,
Minnesota
but I feel
podcasts that
comfortable
predicted them.
legitimately saying Wolves.
Wolves.
Don't get me started. I've already ranked the 12 best players in the series. That's bad news for the Lakers once you get past Luka and LeBron. So I got Wolves in 6 or few.
I do like the Wolves coming out of this. I'm calling my shot that the Wolves are going to win in 5. I think they're going to seal one game in LA. They'll win both at home. All the pressure on the Lakers for game 5.
Evan's panicking. Matt, go.
I still think Minnesota.
I made my prediction Wolves in 7. I am sticking by that.
All right, lock it in. What's the series?
4-2 Wolves.
Probably Wolves in 6.
Realistically, Wolves in 6, but it's Wolves in 5 until it ain't. So
I do love that.
Wolves in 5.
Again, guys, even looking at some of those guys there, they were saying Wolves in 6, Wolves in 7. Even the Minnesota people were not expecting a gentleman's sweep in this series. Now, that's maybe just a thing with like playoff predictions too, where if you think it's going to be a really close series, you pick 7. If you think it's going to be a blowout, you pick 5 because predicting a sweep is too disrespectful to the other team. So most people just do 6 just to be safe with their predictions. But every writer at ESPN was asked to, or at least a good amount of the reporters at ESPN were asked to predict who would win this series. And all 10 of these writers here picked the Lakers over the Timberwolves in either 6 games or 7 games. Again, this was a overwhelming NBA media either dreaming of the Lakers making a far playoff run or wanting them to make a playoff run, or just honestly, maybe from a basketball perspective, thinking that they could go on a long playoff run here. But let's start off with the Lakers here, guys. This was a fraudulent team. They duped us. They tricked us. Now, did a lot of us want to be tricked by the Lakers? I think a lot of us did. Let's just go through just some general stats. Post Luka Doncic trade, the Lakers had the 14th offensive rating in the NBA. They had the 17th defensive rating in the NBA. Overall for the season, they are 12th in point differential. Their point differential is actually pretty bad for a 50-win team. If you look at that historically, 22nd in paint defense, they were 19th in transition defense, and just defensively with this Lakers team, they didn't have any viable perimeter defenders to throw at Anthony Edwards, to throw out even at Mike Conley or Dante DiVincenzo. They were just throwing like Rui Hachimura and DFS, and they just had no backcourt defense. And they had no rim protectors. Like, so basically, the Lakers' best defensive strategy was to play this quote unquote banshee defense, and basically high energy, swarming, running around, having guys like Jordan Goodwin, Jared Vanderbilt that are just going around giving 110% effort defensively, swarming, trying to get loose balls, switching everything, and it just didn't work against a team as sound as the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if you're just looking at this series overall, there's a lot of reasons that you can point to for how the Wolves were able to dominate this series. But I think, in my opinion, the number one reason the Wolves dominated this series and made short work of the Lakers was the fourth quarter. And that was one thing that I think if you were picking the Lakers, even though you thought, hey, maybe they will not be the best defensively, they will get out rebound in the series, you thought, hey, the Lakers will at least out execute them in the fourth quarter. They got Luka Doncic, they got LeBron James, they got Austin Reeves. They have guys that are closers. They have guys that can play and create on one-on-one situations, guys that will draw double teams, guys that will create open three-point shots. Well, fourth quarter of this Minnesota Lakers series, the Lakers shot 26% from the field. 26%. The Wolves outscored the Lakers 105-69. And if you look at the big stars in this series, Luka Doncic, even though his numbers are okay, if you take out the flu game, his numbers were exceptional. Luka, I think the Wolves did an incredible job. We all know the defensive stuff. They're targeting Luka. I think on both ends of the court, though, they did an excellent job of just making him work. If you look at Luka offensively, I think Jaden McDaniels picking him up full court and just like, hey, instead of you walking the ball across half court in 5 seconds, I'm going to make you try and dribble and move laterally and wear you out. And instead of doing it in 5 seconds or 4 seconds, we're going to make you get the ball across half court in 6, 7, maybe even 8 seconds. And that's how, too, even if you go back to game 4, the trip play with Luka and Jaden McDaniels, even though you could say it's a bad call that went against the Lakers, it's still Jaden McDaniels' effort on that play that caused the Lakers to call a timeout when Luka fell down. So I do think making Luka work offensively and defensively, even if there's times where Luka, for the most part, Luka didn't hold up well defensively, but just going at him each time defensively, making him work, making his battery run dry, making him more fatigued than he normally would. And I think that's probably a fault of the Lakers. And I'm surprised JJ didn't have just Austin Reeves try and bring the ball off more and have Austin Reeves initiate more. Maybe it's because he saw Austin Reeves was just having a terrible series in his own right. But just making Luka work on both sides of the ball, it was hard. Even deep offensively, when Luka was scoring and he was cooking, a lot of the shots that Luka were getting weren't at the rim. A lot of it was in the mid-range. A lot of it was his step-back threes. Gobert was excellent defensively. We'll get to him here in a little bit. But Luka Doncic, and I don't think anyone was expecting this coming into this series, or they would have picked the Wolves. Anthony Edwards was the best player in this series. He was the best player in this series. He was constantly, he went up a level. He wasn't doing this last year when the Wolves lost to the Mavericks. He was making the right plays. He wasn't going Superman. He wasn't getting out of a rhythm. He wasn't just jacking up shots for the purpose of jacking up shots. He was making the right plays, going down to game 5 where he makes the pass to Mike Conley in the corner. Even though a lot of people were getting mad online that he went 0 for 11 from 3-point range, Gobert said this in an interview post-game. We don't care what Anthony Edwards is shooting. If he goes 0 for 20 from 3-point range, we don't care. As long as he keeps making the right play, he makes the right decision offensively. He was dissecting that Swiss cheese Lakers defense, even though you could say, hey, it's pretty easy. We brought up the fact that the Lakers weren't the best defensive team earlier in this video, but I mean, he still made work of it. He made the right decisions. The Lakers were not making it easy on him. And for a young guy that's this young, being able to have the trust in your teammates like Julius Randle to make plays, having trust in someone like Naz Reid to make clutch threes like he did in game 3. These are big boy stuff that Anthony Edwards is doing. And I mean, I don't have to talk about him defensively. He was guarding Luka a lot of times. He was guarding LeBron a lot of times. He was guarding Austin Reeves a lot of times. Just both sides of the ball. Anthony Edwards averaged 26, 8, and 6 in this series. But if you're looking at another reason, I think this ties into why I actually think the Timberwolves can make a title run this year. I don't know if they can win it, but I don't think the chances are zero that they can make the NBA Finals this year. We look at teams in the NBA, and you look at them from a large, big picture scope of the season, offensive rating, defensive rating. Wolves are top 10 in both throughout the course of the season. Top 10 offensive rating, defensive rating. That's big boy stuff there. There's only one team in this century of the NBA that has won a championship being outside of the top 10 defensive rating. That's the Denver Nuggets a few years ago. Every other team, top 10. So we know that the Wolves have a championship level defense. But when I look up and down this roster and even bringing it back to this series, the Wolves won in multiple different ways this series. This wasn't just, hey, Anthony Edwards is going nuclear for 5 games and that's how they won this series. They had multiple different ways that they won. Game 1, it was the Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels game. They combined for 48 points. I think they shot like 70% from 3. Game 3, that was the Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle game. They combined for 52 points together. Game 4, that was the game Anthony Edwards took over. That was the game Anthony Edwards outplayed everyone in the Los Angeles Lakers. He had 43, 9, and 6. Randle also threw in 25 points this game. Game 5, as you guys know, the Rudy Gobert game. Coming into that Game 5, the entire series, I think Gobert only had 14 points. And by the way, when you talk about Gobert in the playoffs, the reason he got taken off the court a lot of times in these playoff series wasn't because of his defense. It was because of his offense. His offense was spectacular against the Los Angeles Lakers, him getting 27 and 24. It was a different recipe every single night for how the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to defeat the Lakers. And as we are switching into a different era in the NBA, you're looking throughout the course of this playoffs and even last year's playoffs too, it's not what are your strengths, it's what are your weaknesses and how strong are your weaknesses, right? The Lakers' weaknesses were they didn't have rim protection, they couldn't play defense. Well, the other team took advantage of that because they could score and they could play defense. That's what this series is turning into and what this playoffs is turning into. And the Timberwolves, they're 8 deep, man. They're legitimately 8 deep. You got the starting lineup, Conley, Edwards, McDaniels, Randle, Gobert. Even the bench, Naz Reid, we know he's won 6th man of the year. Dante DiVincenzo is maybe at times in this series was their 8th best player. Guys, in the conference semifinals last year for the Knicks, Dante DiVincenzo averaged 22 points per game, and he had 2 35-point games against the Pacers. And that's your, 8th guy? That's your 8th guy. 7th or 8th guy. 7th on a good day, 8th on a bad day. I mean, this team's deep. They play defense. They can score. And if Anthony Edwards can be an elite playmaker like he was in this series, I think they'll make short work of whoever comes out of the next series, whether that be the Rockets, but probably the Warriors. So I think they're going to the conference finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder, more than likely, unless, Jokic goes nuclear in round 2, which, again, we still don't know as the time of this recording. There's still a Game 7 to be played in that series. If you look at the Thunder, I know all the historical stuff. I know all of the stuff with them winning 68 games, their point differential, how good they are historically. Teams with that type of metrics over the course of a regular season, they win NBA titles. There's some alarming numbers with them with how many times Jalen Williams, their second best offensive player on that team, actually does ISOs. He rarely has isolations. Chet Holmgren's still a young player. Again, not a guy that makes a lot of one-on-one plays. I think the Timberwolves match up good with them. I think the Thunder have guys that they can throw at Anthony Edwards, but their only one-on-one scorer is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think they match up good, man. The Thunder are deep, so are the Wolves. I think they have a chance to go to the finals this year, and I don't think that's crazy to say. So I've been talking too long here. We've been going for 15 minutes. Let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think? Can the Timberwolves make the playoffs? Is there any other stats? Another thing I will point out here, too, Julius Randle was phenomenal for the Timberwolves. I thought I got to bring that up. If you look at his stats compared to his Knicks playoffs, he wasn't that much better just statistically, but that's why it's important to watch the games. Is Julius Randle, just his effort defensively, holding up well against LeBron James in this series, being able to not be a ball stopper as much as we're used to Julius Randle being a ball stopper, playing on both sides of the ball. Julius Randle, and again, I brought up some of those stats earlier. Julius Randle was phenomenal. Understanding, oh, wait, Luka's in front of me, I'm going to attack him now. He was phenomenal too. This seems deep. I think they can potentially go to the finals this year. But again, in the comments, let me know what I missed here, if anything, other things with the Lakers. I think I mentioned that they only had one game of separation through the regular season because the Lakers had 50 wins, Wolves had 49 wins. But let me know what I missed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on the Wolves finals chances. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And that's going to do it for this video here today. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Those are the number one things that you can do to help support this channel. Get this video out to more people. And again, feel free to check out other videos on this podcast page. We've done a few interviews recently, talking to experts that cover certain NBA teams in the playoffs, talking about their chances throughout the entire playoffs. And we even did a Wolves video last week. Hasn't had much views. I'd love to get some more views after this. So feel free to check out other videos. Again, subscribe, and thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time.